Faster. Hello, and welcome to EvilGinger Miniatures first Tuesday live stream. I will be quitting out of this screen in a moment so I can actually see what you're saying in the comments. So we're going over there now, and I'm waiting for your comments. Let's see if that will work. And say I'm entirely new to this, and this is not something I have done previously. Good. I'm muted and frozen, right? Previously. Good. I'm muted and frozen, right? Previously. Good. Right. Welcome to EvilGinger Miniatures. Good. Right. So I'm going to work out what the hell. Welcome to EvilGinger. Right. Okay, still trying to work out what's going on. I really need two screens for this so I can read the chat without flicking from screen to screen. Right. I've said welcome. What are we going to do tonight? I'm really not entirely sure. I normally think of something random to do at the time when I'm doing my Facebook broadcasts, but I'll dare say I think of something. I've got a few things literally to hand. Well, you see me in my workshop, in my painting gear, and behind me and all around me are the shelves of shame. The shelves of shame are where basically all of my projects, which I haven't finished yet, sit, and all of my customer projects, which I'm in process of doing, sit. And I work my way through them as systematically as possible. It's a bit of a chaotic place, as you might have seen if you've seen any of the photographs I post regularly, but stuff gets done, and whilst I would like it to be a tiny bit tidier, I am rather comfortable in a chaotic environment. It's a sort of life choice. Anyway, what do we talk about today? I'm not sure. As I say, I've got some bits and pieces, but I was rather hoping that the chat would cue me in on this, because a little bit of input always helps. As I say, we need to work out how we can actually make the chat appear on the page where I can actually see what I'm doing. Anyway, whilst we're waiting for the chat, and I'll flick in and out of that as the thing goes on. I need another monitor over one way or the other to basically, so I can just tilt my head and look at it, like I used to do with the fighter sims years ago. The things I've got to hand is I'm doing an awful lot of Frostgrave at the moment. I'm going to be running a load of demos at the local game cafe here in Burton-on-Trent, which is where I'm based, called Books and Banter. Highly recommend it. Best coffee in Burton-on-Trent, I'll tell you. And that comes from a coffee addict of considerable order. I'm making these for... Now, this is Rubble City 1 scenery. I will be getting some Rubble City 2 scenery to show off, but basically this is a war-basis pond base with a bit of rubble buildings on. These will be used in the demo when they're finished. At the moment, they're just glued in place, and I've put some milliput around the edge for two reasons. One, it acts as fairly good glue, though I've used some super glue in with it. And secondly, it works as a snow. You can paint it white and put snow flock on top of it, and it then looks like snow. The snow flock I'm going to be using is the same as I've used on these, which is the kraut cover stuff. Now, I've got a couple of different sorts of snow flock to hand. I've got the Games Workshop stuff, which looks very, very powdery. I think it's ground paper, and it's very good for a very light dusting, and it looks frosty. If you ever looked at a window in the UK when it's been frosty, there's a dusting of it on top, and it's a texture. This is a bit coarser, but it shows up a little better. It works exactly like the traditional grass flocks. I've also got the Gale Force 9 stuff. Now, the Gale Force 9 stuff is nice, but it is very coarse, it's gritty, and it's the sort of thing you'd probably use for really, really deep snow, and you might want to scatter some finer snow over the top of it just to give it. But I think my favourite snow effect is actually milliput painted white with a bit of snow flock over the top just to give it that little slight texture. Once we've got the demos going and the demos are producing sort of interest, we'll then be going on to actually running a campaign. Now, I'll be refereeing the campaign because I know the rules reasonably, and even though I'll probably conflate second edition with first edition, which I played an awful lot of back in the day, and we'll be running warbands against each other, hopefully. I can provide warbands for people who want to take part. I can paint them. I'm painting one for myself, which, strangely enough, is an Old Dwarf warband. This is the wizard for it. He's still a work in progress, but I'm extraordinarily impressed with Speed Paint 2s on his clothing. Probably need to tidy the edge of the yellow up because I think I've got some red on it. But basically, that's my wizard, and he will have an Old Dwarf warband. Doesn't make any difference in the game, as they effectively all handle like humans. Less they're gnolls or barbarians or that sort of thing. When there are some soldier classes they can't be. And that's what we'll be doing with Frostgrave. I'd like to do other stuff there. I've got some large Oathmark armies in process. I've been working on a project with doing a variation on Sharp Practice for fantasy. Probably be a bit of a based on not just Sharp Practice, but Infamy, which is a similar set of rules. In fact, basically the mechanics are the same as 40k or Warhammer, but the bits that the Lardies have built on top of that basic framework are much, much better and much, much more fun and very absorbing. And it's a storytelling game, effectively, in that things happen to it and it generates a story. So you have your leaders who are heroic but not super heroic. They are the motivations to the battle. They get people going and doing things. And you have your rank and file who get increasingly upset by the course of the battle and are enheartened and dragged on by the leaders. At the moment, for that, I've got a large number of armies and I'm working on more because that's a lot of what the Shelves of Shame are filled with. I have elves, I have dwarves, I have goblins. I'm building a hobgoblin army, a goblin and a hobgoblin army. I've got my undead. I think you've seen the Army of the Forgotten King and the other things that go with it, which are basically the death cultists, which are a gang of necromancers and a load of human militia in Oathmark terms. I've also got building, and I'm perfectly prepared to play, some troops for a fancy West African thing based on the decline of the Great Ghana Empire in the 10th century. So we have sort of First Crusade period as far as Europe and the Near East is concerned. But you have the Ghana Empire, which was extraordinarily rich, though not as rich as the later Mali Empire, whose king managed to bankrupt most of the Middle East going on the Hajj, to the point that he had to bail out economies out of his pocket on the way back because he put so much money into them that they basically went into hyperinflation. Basically, he was extraordinarily rich, and the previous Ghana kingdom was known as the Kingdom of Gold because it had so much gold. Its trade was across the Sahara in gold, finished goods, ivory, and the slaves, because slave trading from Africa is a very old thing. It just went completely mad when the fall of the last of the great West African empires coincided with Europe colonizing the New World and deciding that the locals weren't very good labor. And it all went to pot from there, and then it was suppressed, and the suppression of the slave trade led to a lot of colonialism and the development of the British Empire in Africa, which started off as actions to suppress local African slave trading states like Lagos and Benin, which had made an awful lot of money out of the thing, but that's a side effect. But on the wargaming point of view, I have a fantasy army of southern dwarves. I have a fantasy army of people who came from what is now Ethiopia, and I'm working on an army of the people from the Kingdom of Gold, who are basically all conversions, because I have no idea what they looked like at the time, so they're being based on later people. I seem to have got down to one person, and I will get across to answer the chat if there is any chat. Doesn't appear to be any chat. We have two people in the chat. We had two people in the chat, but we'll go back to this so we can see what's going on. And basically, that's going to be the wargaming thing. There's all sorts of other things. I have a War of 1812 project on in way for 40mm. I have a American War of Independence thing for 40mm as well. And there's all sorts of things. So basically, is there anything anybody wants to say to me? Because you seem to be very, very reticent to talk. Possibly because I only got 8 followers. Well, 8 members of the channel at the moment, and it would be nice to have some more. I mean, I could get up and drag things in front of me, but I'm pretty much stuck in front of the camera at the moment, and basically not all that mobile. What else can we say? As I say, the other plan that EvilGinger are doing is EvilGinger will be having an Etsy shop at some point in the near future. And on the Etsy shop, you'll be able to buy some nice stuff. Already finished, done. I'll only be putting up there that's stuff that's finished. So you'll be able to see what's going on with that. And new products will be on there regularly. One of the things I'll be doing for these are these mantic skeletons, which I would highly recommend for Frostgrave. They are really pretty and nice thing to paint, and they'll come with a variety of shield designs. These are plain red ones. I have shield transfers, and I have freehand stuff that I can do on shields. So I'll also be doing Frostgrave warbands for people, both starter ones and advanced ones and deluxe ones. So they're all things that might be coming, and as well as a selection of scenery. I think people may have seen the huts that I did, and things like the Vietnamese huts that I did recently. Just keep an eye and see if there's anybody else on here. Because I really do need to work out how the chat works. Because if there isn't anybody else out here, having spent 15 minutes talking, I am pretty much running out of steam and have reached the end of things to talk to. But I'll be back again next week, hopefully with more of a plan, and hopefully there'll be more people to talk to online than last time. Anyway, that's been me. This is EvilGinger Miniatures, speaking to you from the EvilGinger Miniatures workshop, and I hope you have a good evening, because I shall. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you tomorrow on Facebook, and this time next week here.